I think I'm going to use mostly pencil, so pen will work just fine for what we're doing. I have some colored pencils off to the side in case there's some time for them. I feel that way, but a lot of opportunity for different mediums. The exercise will be kind of simple, playing with the flow and movement of your hand in a curve in sequence. We'll do a little oscillation between seeing how that plays out on the paper, following the hand, watching it, making kind of sequential layers, and then trusting the hand to try to do it a little bit on its own, closing the eyes, seeing where it takes us. Get a little sense of it with a warm up here. See if other people join in, but mostly probably up to you, directionality, but I'll kind of work horizontally on the page and just have the pencil start and move and do a little wandering waviness. We'll do this warm up with a little bit of pen so it'll be easier to see. So any kind of line that starts in a direction, has a little fun with the hand, and ends on the other side. Mine happen to start kind of flat and then do the wiggling in the middle, but it start just by wiggling all the way along, string-like softer curve, and they might change over time throughout the drawing. What we'll initially kind of do is with our eyes follow in some loose way, trying to maintain a balance of the playfulness of that first mark, the one that has nothing else in its way, and a little bit of guided control to the mark. And keep our attention a little on that as it can feel like we're holding a lot, trying to make it track along. And as this is going, it doesn't have to track perfectly, it doesn't have to stay separate. They can cross, they can overlap, do all sorts of things, but we'll use it as that place to connect eyes and hands with the paper and the page. And then once we feel kind of comfortable with the rhythm of our movement, the flow of the play, we'll close the eyes and try to keep some connection to it, but it will obviously drift quite a lot at that point. And then we'll have some kind of patterns of resonance and interference happening on the page, and that playfulness that'll change quite a lot over the distance. And maybe we can find interesting shapes or places within them to bring a little emphasis or tone. But for the most part, letting the hand wobble, play, wiggle, and draw some curves, blank page in front of you. To enter into the exercise, knowing that that's in mind, it might be nice just to give both wrists a little attention, rotate them around back and forth, flex them in and out, side to side, just making sure they're nice and loose. So concentric, continuous circles. Starting to breathe a little deeply with the movement, wiggling the fingers, just letting that wiggle move up the chain into the wrists and elbows, the shoulders, the back, getting everything kind of worked out and moved. And as you feel ready with that softness, the lightness of the hands, picking up your pen or pencil, taking a nice deep entering breath to fill out some space and let it drift slowly into a relaxed position. From that state, finding a place on the page. You start close, far, in the middle, anywhere that attracts the hand and the attention. Again, left, right, left, up or down, all of the work. So it might be comfortable there, diagonal. And let your mind soften a bit, that intention of the drawing soften a bit. That first curve, just play, meander, wiggle across space. When you're ready, let the pen or pencil touch down and start its journey. Just let it move. This could start to look like a landscape, like a seascape, like a rhythm, sound, or a pattern. It's just a curve playing along. You start playing along with it, following it, finding a pace through several iterations that let you feel you connect with the curve that's there before you, generally following its action, but also stay connected to your hand, not letting it become too rigid. It starts to feel held in there, constrained, or having to go very, very slow, very jerky to stay along with it. Just let it move at its own pace. Don't worry if it follows contours exactly. That become the time practice, or it just may take a little entering into the drawing to find some relaxation there. That's the hand play kind of the same, but a little different. You can work above the line, below the line, adding onto this, letting the spectrum expand, looking for opportunities that tracking does not have to be exact, just a guide, ripples in the paper, becoming familiar with the action, up and down, side to side movement. And as you feel ready with that, start to let your eyes close. Bring them close all at once, and let them drift into a quieter, kind of relaxed space, seeing how much your mind remembers, your hand remembers from the journey. You need to open them briefly to restart, to find the place at the beginning. Feel free to do that. Just trusting the hand to move and to play similarly across the page, line after line, curve after curve, wiggling its way across the space. And as it goes, you start to bring some attention inward, those eyes closed or lightly focused. You can listen into the breath, hear the inhalation, notice it maybe with a pause, hear that exhalation as we move through the space, finding a connection, whether you draw on the in or the out. It's up to you. Finding a rhythm there where you breathe in with connection to your action. For me, that pause in between, finding place, letting the exhalation become movement, expression outward. It can work in both ways. Keeping those eyes softly focused, even if you use them to restart on the paper, not worrying too much about what comes out. The play changing as you go, an old memory of the rhythm in the breath, maybe recording it a little bit with slight pulses or puffs to your exhalation or inhalation. Playing with the sound you hear from the breathing, aligned with the movement of the hand and the pen. Noticing the inhalation, pulsing, wiggling the exhalation. If your page is starting to get full, use your soft focus to notice that. You can start to slow it down a little bit. Really feeling out that sense of exhalation a sense of pulse and connection to the movement of the hand. One more time. Pause between inhalation. One more time. Riding the wave out of the exhalation. Slowing into the space left. And things can overlap, start where they've begun before. Building up a bit of density is fine. Taking a few quiet moments with that breath before we move to another way of seeing. Just listening in to your inhalation, your exhalation, and the connection to the play of your hand. Riding along that breath, bringing some internal alignment, relaxation, deepening that full connection between every movement of the body, from the small, taking in a breath, to the larger, more directed actions of holding a pen or pencil and moving it along a page. And as you like, letting the eyes perhaps drift open a little bit, see whatever has formed there on the paper. Perhaps take a few, if you have some space, more of the following actions, tracing curves that form an edge boundary, perhaps like the bottom edge of mine, or tracing new curves that form new boundaries within the drawing that you see there within the page you've created. One that might strike visual interest, tracking along with getting lost in the interference between the waves, still riding out that breath, pulsing with movement. Bringing new connections from the first marks. Letting the eye track, letting the eye guide the hand. The breath, the kind of background wave of the making its way across the page, moving freely and openly with the hand between seeing moments, remembered moments of movement, the new paths working, gliding, flowing through the space of the paper. Perhaps it's a little bit of a landscape, a visual expression, continuity, overlap, the places of resonance, and places of discord or interference, blending together across the page. adding a few more layers, exploring a few more areas of the map. With the eyes, with the hands, gliding, playing smoothly across the surface. As the paper begins to fill, you find yourself compressing against the edges, getting lost in each new curve as it forks along many trajectories, bending, wiggling its way around and through. We can shift our focus if you like, or keep gliding through the patterns, letting them move on the page, finding new spaces within what's there. A lot of overlap and intersection, pulsing, expansion and contraction throughout the layers likely to happen with the eyes closed, hands moving areas of the paper. In that you might find some interesting shapes, so just letting the eye drift over it for a while, noticing places where you're drawn in, using a pencil or pen, or grabbing another instrument, and finding some ways to bring some emphasis there, whether that's a light shading in, interesting trapped space, curves, shading, drawing over the curve that draws the eye, capturing a little bit of room, bringing those things together, just build out intensity to your vision, follow the curves in a closer way, to span the space between them, remap it into a new language, a little shading, a little thickening, a little more dense layering, whatever kind of comes to the hand as it plays in that space. Using the curves that your eyes finds interesting as a place of experimentation and investigation, drawn in to the emergent properties of the drawing. And maybe it's the quick changes from wide to narrow that catch your eye. Maybe it's long slithers winding their way freely through. Maybe patterns of overlap and interference. And maybe many at one time, depending on how the mind sees the page. But we'll use a few minutes of quiet just to explore what catches your attention, bring another way of seeing it to the drawing through the expression of shade, or thicker line, pulling something new out of the space created. Enjoying a little quiet time, just drawing in your map. With that little time just there between you and the page, taking some reflection and noticing what was drawing you in, or what you see. Perhaps little rivers carving their way across the landscape. Perhaps ribbons gently twisting in the breeze. Maybe patterns. A lot of opportunity for something checkered, something alternating to play out there. Noticing how you engage with kind of unmanaged complexity of the territory. Stuff that happened without your direct control or input, strange conditions that may interfere or collide with original intentions, tracking along what seems like a clear trajectory at first, suddenly gliding, rippling in with others, disappearing into the noise, only to emerge a little bit later somewhere else. The practice and exercise of letting go, closing those eyes, and following your rhythm, your play, letting it play out on the page, and then re-engaging it, practicing the flexibility, your adaptability, your reading of complexity, trying to release into it. Notice if it catches you somewhere, maybe tightness or frustration with something, maybe challenge of working around obstacles, just some lines wrapping around each other on the paper, let them be what they are, let the hand follow what it can. Breathe into any place of tightness. Shading, filling in some area can hide or obscure things that don't quite fit the pattern our mind or eye catches. Breathing can smooth out discordant rhythms around us. We can bring that sense of flow into our foreground at any time. Soft breath, a moment or two given attention to connecting inward. Whether you're drawing or making some other form of expression, or just sitting at a desk, preparing to close down the mind for the evening. Anytime that breath can be our guide into smoothness. We can release some of the conscious intention, closing the eyes, just listening. Making the territory found so we can re-engage up new terms. Playing in space. And as you filled in some areas, it might change a little the perception. Some things maybe start to emerge that you see there. They start to change the landscape. The eye guided to certain things, the hand comfortable engaging the paper in certain ways. Things you've relaxed into, things from the past, ways of working that you know, ways of working that you find here. And it's a nice time to notice them, to be aware of how something is engaging with you, how you are engaging here with something. Observe how you tend to interact or are tending to interact. Noticing the distance you move the pen or pencil, speed or intensity, to follow curves or just fill in. Both working towards the same thing, seeing of the new territory in a new way. the mapping out of potential patterns and relationships, space between a few curves. Note the intensity of your marks. They feel heavy or light. You change them based on what you encounter. Perhaps you find potential figuration, potential idea in the page, the work slowly shaping itself into something for you in your mind. Perhaps you start to move a little differently, working towards or working through. As we go along for a while, that relaxing might open up an idea. If it does, you can start working towards shading, revealing what you see. Relaxing may just make it easier to work through, to find a place to engage, page, follow the rhythm. While drawings can be quick, it didn't take very much time for us to layer a lot of lines onto the paper, a lot of curves, mapping and wrapping, whether we did eyes closed or eyes open. You can let that hand move quite fast and create something very quickly. Drawing can also be very slow, taking a lot of time, patience, looking into the details, the scene, the non-present emerging out from the background. Observing how you engage and how that changes time till time disappears for a little bit. You draw thousands of lines and it feels like each one happens in an instant. Quick. It takes many hours, or just a few lines that impact my perception, just a few seconds. It takes some time to observe and notice them. As we reach the end of the formal time of the exercise, I start to see if there's something there to continue playing and exploring, something to note in the mind or on the page to go back to. We're just doing a couple of quick rememberings, retracings, reflowings, adding a few more layers to the landscape. Reminding the body and the mind that play started the path. And with that playfulness, smoothness, freedom of any kind of movement in mind, bring the hands to rest for a little bit, bring them back into awareness, a little symmetrical movement over the fingers, stretch and fold in more open way. So much time held with the instrument, with the wrists lined a couple of times, bringing some flow back internally. Notice the back of the hands. Notice the front of the hands. Take a couple of closing breaths, just at your pace, filling out a little space, relaxing into that space. And bringing your attention back around you, to the room, to the space you're in. to the drawing in front of you, to the rest of your day.